Republican Seniors of Minnesota, a group of seasoned seniors that learn and discuss issues important to all Minnesotans, featuring guest speakers with traditional conservative values, plus Republican candidates at all levels, pledging strength and optimism. We believe in and advocate for the principles of personal responsibility, economic prosperity, peace through strong national defense, and limited, sensible government. Republican Seniors of Minnesota. It's not the years in your life, but the life in your years.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. Thanks for coming this morning. Good to see you all after our New Year's and Christmas break. I'm Terry Flower, Chair of the Republican Seniors of Minnesota. Can everyone hear me? Yes. Okay, good. Folks in the back row, can you hear? All right. Good. Okay, this meeting is being live streamed, and we wish to offer a special welcome to those attending on the live stream. We do know that we've had a bit of a problem with the North Metro people who have a special watch party, and they lost their location because somebody doesn't want to be political. So if you know of a location they could use, let us know. Let's see. We'd like to acknowledge. We're going to try to move on. We're a little pressed for time. We've got a lot of activity this morning. One, we'd like to start off acknowledging our veteran military members, along with active duty retired police officers, firefighters, and other first responders. Would you all stand, please? Good, and would the rest of y'all please stand, and we'll join together in our opening prayer invocation. This from Al Muirhall.
Gracious God, this December and January we celebrated two very special holidays, Christmas and New Year's. We are blessed to receive your Son sent by you to save us. We thank you for bringing salvation to us. You are our Creator, our Sustainer, and our Redeemer. We ask that as we celebrate the new year, that we do so in honor and not just see it as a reason to party. We thank you for the blessings you shed on us in 2025 and humbly ask you to bless us. Further, in 2026, be with us this year as we select a new House and new Senate and a new governor. We ask for your guidance and wisdom to endorse the right candidates and blessings to sustain us during this election season. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Thank you all. Please be seated. Excuse me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now you can be seated. Thank you. Okay. We have some announcements we have to start with. First of all, we're really saddened to let you know that a really solid Republican Minnesotan and past board member helping us, Judd Mowry, passed away on December 20th. He was a really active member of the Republican Party, and I know I've just heard a lot from all kinds of people about that, including Tom Emmer. He was a member of the board. Judd's sister informed us there will be a celebration of life sometime this spring, and we'll announce the details when we get them. Also, we need to let you know that Martin Johnson, also a fairly steady attendee, passed away on Saturday, the 10th of January. And when there are some announcements about the arrangements, we'll let you know. Let's see. Do you like chili? Yeah. Chili today, hot tamale. Okay, how about a chili cook-off contest? The annual Conservative American PAC chili cook-off contest is coming February 7th at the Auto Complex in Chanhassen. So visit conservativeamericanpac.com for details. We also need to recognize birthday celebrations. Let's see, do you know how many seniors it takes to change a light bulb? Well, only one, but it'll take all day. Okay, we would like to recognize those of you who are celebrating your birthday in January, or marriage, or whatever you're celebrating. It's a good time. Hey, when it's 40 degrees in January, it's time to celebrate. But yeah, so we got the bike runners. And please, has anybody got a birthday or celebration? Right here. Okay, sorry about that. Didn't want to waste your time. We'll have an opportunity for other announcements at the end of our meeting. We do 2 cents for 2 minutes, and you get to hear a little bit more now. But right now we do have Carol Brumwell on the agenda to talk to you about caucuses.
Good morning. I'm Carol Brumwell, your past chair, and I have actually 2 topics to talk about. First is caucuses. February 3rd is an important date for you to attend your local caucus and get involved. How many of you have previously attended a caucus? Oh, great. So you know the drill. The reason to attend is to get to know your fellow Republicans in your area, elect delegates to your local Senate District Convention, and get started in involvement in the process of electing our new representatives, senator, governor, other state offices. What we want you to do in addition this year as you attend caucus is talk to people about Republican seniors. And John Butz, John has a brief story to tell about how important it is and how easy it is to talk about Republican seniors at your caucus.
Thank you, Carol. Good morning. Well, here's the deal. My wife's gave me a little saying this morning, and I thought, wow, that's pretty good. Each one bring one. We've been talking to you guys for a long time about you are the most important way to get membership is talking to somebody. And so you say, but John, I've been talking to my neighbors, I've been talking to my coworkers, I'm talking to my friends, I'm talking to my relatives, I can't get any more. This is we missed the biggest group, strangers. And you all think, I'm not talking to strangers, but what if they were friendly strangers? See, aren't you all friendly strangers to each other? We hardly know each other, but we're willing to talk to each other because we're all Republicans, and we're all friendly Republicans, making us friendly Republican seniors. Now, you go to the caucus, and guess who's there? Friendly Republicans. There's no Democrats in our caucus. So here was the deal. Last time, I'm from Eden Prairie, so I walked into Eden Prairie Junior High, and they have, pretty cool for junior high kids, they have tables that are round, so all the kids have to face each other, and they maybe can talk to each other. And people sit in those little groups. So I just go up to the group, And I carry this card. You've seen this before. Printers call it a rack card. We have everything on here that describes our organization. Everything. It's got your website. It's got the location. It's got our goals, what we hope to do. It's perfect. So grab yourself some of these. Go to your caucus and go up to one of those small groups and you say, "Hi, I'm John." No, you don't say John. You say your name. And they'll all say, "Hi, John," and it's full of Joe and Marys all over the place in that little group. And you say, "Hey, what do you guys know about the Republican seniors?" Now, I'm wearing a hat. You don't have to get a hat, but you should get a hat, because we use the hats for advertising, not to make money. They're $20 donation. We spend $17 for a hat, so it's a $3 deduction on your taxes. We're not...
No, not tax deductible.
Oh, did I make a mistake?
Not tax deductible.
It is not tax deductible. You just give us the extra $3. It's our profit. Sorry about that. So the goal is not to make money for the club. The goal is to advertise the club. So when they see that, if they see your hat, that's, "Oh, Republican seniors," they all don't know us. It's amazing how many people don't know us. And all you do is say, "I'm a Republican seniors," and you hold up the rack card and say, "Are you guys interested in coming one time a month, the second Tuesday of the month?" I passed out 25 of these last time. How many came, I really don't know. This time I may get their name if they give it to me. But otherwise, we have the website on here. They can see the speakers. So I encourage you to go to your caucus with the idea you're going to talk to some of these friendly strangers and help them see the truth about what we really do as Republican seniors. I mean, the doubling deal. If we double, we have maybe 120 here, not quite, maybe 100. If we all brought one person a year and you double that, next year you'd have 200. Did it the next year, you'd have 400. Soon we're in a new building. Soon we're over in the stadium. So don't get discouraged because you can't do it. You can do it.
Thank you, John. To find your caucus location, sos.mn.gov is where your caucus locations are. Edina is all meeting at Southview Middle School, and Bloomington is all meeting at Jefferson High School. So for those two, I know we have a lot of people from those two cities. They consolidated the entire city, even though it may have a couple different Senate districts in it. So those are easy. For all the rest, please go here, sos.mn.gov. That list gets published tomorrow. So you won't be able to find it today. Look there tomorrow and go to your February 3rd caucus. Okay, topic number 2. As your past chair, my only official responsibility is chairing the nominations committee for our own delegates and alternates to attend congressional district conventions and the state convention. We have, I'll chair it. There'll be 3 other board members involved. If you send an email to republicanseniors@gmail.com and say a convention delegate in the subject line, that'll get over to me so that I can get your name on the list of people to be interviewed. It's a brief phone interview so that we can identify who is willing and able to run. Our election will be at the annual meeting. That'll be April 14th. I need to hear from you by April 7th, but I'd love to hear from you like this week if you're interested in being a delegate or an alternate. For the CDs, we have to have 10 paid members from that CD. We know that we'll have CD2 and CD3 already have 10 paid members. We're close for CD4, 5, and 6 if you are from one of those CDs and can round up some friends to become a paid member of Republican Seniors. We're allowed to elect one delegate, one alternate to go to the Congressional District Convention. As an entire group, as an affiliate of the Republican Party of Minnesota, we're entitled to 2 delegates, 2 alternates to go to the state convention to vote for the governor and other state officers. Requirements. You have to be a current paid member in 2026 at the time you give me your name. You'll be contacted by the nominating committee. You'll have a brief phone interview. You cannot serve as a delegate or an alternate for another entity. So if you're going to your Senate District Convention or your CD, don't run for office there if you're going to also run for office with us on the 14th. It's one chair per person kind of thing. You're going to have to be willing to fund your own convention registration fee, and for the state convention, it's like you'll need to travel, so you'll have to plan for travel expenses. That's out of your pocket. You have to be willing to rearrange your personal calendar to actually attend these conventions. We don't know the dates. We don't know the locations yet of the conventions. They'll be in April, May, just so that you want to keep your weekend calendar free for those. And when you come back from the convention, or we want you to email or come in person to report the convention results to the Republican Seniors Board. So welcome to apply to be a delegate or an alternate. We'll be voting in April, and I very much thank you for your attention. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Carol. Oops. Yeah, I think I went to my first caucus in 1980. Moved to Minnesota in '79. Who's here before then? Attended caucus. What year? Well, we've seen a lot of things change. Anybody else sooner than that? Okay, so that you win it. Well, but seriously, let's attend our caucuses, because that's where the action starts, and that's really important. Okay, we have speakers, candidates here today, and because of the larger number, I guess I've been told we're limiting it to 4 minutes. So, and the first one is Kristin Robbins for governor.
Good afternoon, or good morning, I guess. It's so great to be here with all of you. I feel kindred spirit with Terry. My first caucus as a delegate was 1988, so I've been doing this a long time too. And I am here because I'm running for governor. I am originally from Crookston. I am a small town girl, grew up in a small business family. My dad owned the funeral home in Crookston, and we just worked together to make our family business work. My family then moved to Upper Michigan when I was growing up, and finished growing up there, came back and went to Bethel College. I've been married 32 years to my husband, Brent. We have 3 amazing adult daughters we're very proud of, and I've been in the legislature for now my 4th term. And before I was in the legislature, I was doing what all of you do. I volunteered in my district. I'm from the grassroots. I've been a precinct captain. I've been a vice chair in my BPOU. I've been an acting chair in my BPOU. I have door knocked and phone banked and paraded for candidates all over CD3 for years before I got elected, because I believe in our party and I believe in Republican principles. But when I got elected, I've been in the legislature now 4 terms, and most of my time has been spent on education and small business issues. But this last year I got to be chair of the fraud committee, and that has overtaken my life. But we are fighting fraud every day. I was on the phone on my way here to this meeting, and I'm going to the Capitol after this, and every day we are just facing whistleblower reports. But it's been a good week to fight fraud in Minnesota. So a week ago, yesterday, Tim Walz dropped out of the race. So my New Year's resolution of beating Tim Walz, we've already checked that box. So we are taking on whoever comes next, because we are going to turn this state around. But then my next day was the OLA report, which showed that DHS employees had falsified and backdated documents. These employees need to be fired, and they need to be held criminally liable. And the fact that it hasn't happened yet, a week later today, is appalling. And so I'm going to be working on that. Then Wednesday of last week, I was testifying before the House Oversight Committee in Congress. And if you haven't seen it, there's a lot of videos out there. You can follow me on social media and see some of the clips. But we had a team. It wasn't just me. It was Representative Walter Hudson, Representative Marion Rarick. And as a team, we told the story of fraud in Minnesota, the horrible internal controls, the lack of accountability from the Walz administration. And we have been bringing federal help to the table for months. Way back in July, I asked the Department of Human Services in Washington to do a full federal audit of Minnesota's DHS, and they started gradually, but last week when I was in D.C., they announced the full federal audit. And yes, and we are getting other help from the House Oversight Committee. They have requested Walz and Ellison to go testify. If they refuse, they're going to subpoena him. Yep, my committee does not have subpoena power, but our federal partners have more tools for getting bank records, for getting things that my committee doesn't have access to, and subpoena power. So working with our federal partners, we can get this done. And then I got home midnight Thursday night, and Friday I was in a meeting with the Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, and he is bringing all new tools to track money going out of our state, which is a huge problem. And so they are geo-targeting all the cash leaving from these money service businesses out of Hennepin and Ramsey starting last Friday. And we are going to get to the bottom of where this money is going and hold people accountable. So I'm so grateful for the work of our federal partners partnering with my committee, and our committee is going full force. We have another hearing here in Minnesota on January 21st, and then once we go into session, we have weekly meetings. You can follow us online. Every committee is on the House website video. Oh, so I got to stop. But I'm running for governor to stop the fraud, to make our communities safe, to have education, focus on achievement, not DEI woke nonsense, and to get Minnesota to prosper again. I hope you will caucus for me and vote for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristin. And then let's see, we have Patrick Knight.
Well, thank you, Terry, and I'll be keeping a close eye on Al on the time here. Patrick Knight, running for governor. I feel like I'm one of 75 candidates. There's a lot of us, but that's a good thing. It gives more comparison and contrast to choose. So what I want to do today is talk about three things. Talk a little bit about myself, talk about my plan, and then talk about my vision for the state. So, a little bit about myself. I'm married 23 years to my wife, Kate, who I met in business school. She's from New York. I brought her back to Minnesota. We've got 4 beautiful kids, 2 in college, 2 still in Minnesota public schools. I grew up in Plymouth, the mean streets of Plymouth, I like to joke, and was at a high school, went on eventually to Holy Cross for college, and Georgetown for law school, and Harvard for business school. I spent 20 years in the Marine Corps, active duty and reserves. Thank you. Initially as a judge advocate prosecutor on Okinawa, eventually transferred to the infantry. I was an infantry officer deployed to the Middle East and retired as lieutenant colonel. I've spent about 25 years in manufacturing, mostly food manufacturing, initially Cargill, SunOpta, and most recently as CEO of about a 110-person food manufacturing company. I'm a Republican. I believe in faith, family, hard work, individual responsibility, personal freedom. I love God. I love my neighbor. I try to love my enemy. Sincerely, I do. And I love Minnesota. And it's heartbreaking seeing what is happening to our state. It feels like the character of our state is just being ripped apart. And on almost every objective measure, we're going in the wrong direction. So what's the plan? We need to get back to the fundamentals. Those don't drive a lot of sound bites, but we are fundamentally unsound. And so I call my plan, I'm working on the name, so just roll with it. My plan is the big, beautiful, basic, boring plan. And I'm working, I'll come up with a better name, but I want to highlight it's boring because a lot of people don't want to talk about the fundamentals. Remember when you were a kid playing sports and the coach said, hey, today we're going to work on the fundamentals. Well, everybody just, complained about it. But the fundamentals eventually help you to win. And we've got to get sound on the fundamentals. So 5 points to my plan, which are make Minnesota affordable again, grow a strong, resilient economy, fix our schools by focusing on outcomes, restore public safety and the rule of law, and build a smaller, smarter state government that delivers results. And thank you. Those are not going to drive a lot of the sound bites on social media, but we absolutely have to get back to fundamentals. And that is important not just for Republicans. It's important for anybody in the state, regardless of where they live, what they look like, how they vote. Now, let me talk about my vision. I see the 1 minute time here. What would Minnesota look like if we got back to the basics, if we fixed the fundamentals? I've worked in manufacturing, and I've worked know a lot of people on the plant floor, and very often there would be, I'm out of time, so I'll hit you up on the vision next time. But Patrick Knight running for governor. I'd love your support at the caucuses, and I hope to get to speak to you again. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Patrick. And let's see, we have Mark York also coming up for the Senate. And folks, we can invite these candidates to come. They can come back again and again and visit you.
I'll come back as many times as you'll have me, Terry. Thank you for inviting me here today. I thought it was appropriate that Terry began with an invocation, actually, because this is a very sacred responsibility, being in the public eye, driving this conversation, and hopefully trying to make Minnesota a better place for everyone in Minnesota and not just scoring political points. My name is Mark York. I grew up on a farm in Lake Wilson in southwest Minnesota. I always say I'm not from the middle of nowhere, but you can see it from my house. I come from a long line of farmers, teachers, and public servants. My dad has been township clerk and election judge for over 25 years. My grandfather was the president of the National Rural Electric Association, and my great-grandfather represented Murray County in the Minnesota legislature as a Republican. I started farming when I was 4, started helping on the farm, picking rock and feeding the pigs. I still farm 80 acres with my family today, and I'll actually be back tomorrow selling pigs. So if you need any pork, let me know. Now, it's been rumored, and it's true, that I studied for my PhD in computer science at Harvard. But don't worry, I did do my undergrad at South Dakota State University, and I will forever be a jackrabbit. Go Jacks. Thank you. I started my career at Cargill, right up the road in Wayzata, as a data scientist and commodity trader. I know we have a couple other Cargill people here. I also worked at McKinsey for a couple years, consulting with mainly agricultural clients, and I had the honor for the last year of serving as a White House fellow. Now, what I saw at the White House was very eye-opening. I started off under Biden, as a non-political, and then served most of my time under Trump. It was as though the power switch on the White House got turned on January 20th of last year. It's remarkable that, no offense to Biden and the Democrats, but Trump gets as much done in 10 minutes as Biden gets done in 10 months. It's 16-hour days, 7 days a week. My main focus there was working on critical minerals. So I don't know if anyone in here knows, it takes 29 years on average to open a mine in the U.S. We're tied for slowest in the world. In Minnesota, it seems to take infinite years. Our goal was to accelerate permitting, to get around needless lawsuits, and to direct federal funds and grants to the mines that are going to matter most, the mines that are producing cobalt and nickel and copper and rare earth elements and everything we need to build the industries of the future here. There's 3 such mines in northern Minnesota. I was working with those mines to try to accelerate and get those open. And speaking of Minnesota, we are at a crossroads. It's been 20 years since we have won a statewide election. And we're seeing the consequences of that today. We have the 6th highest taxes in the country. We have the 3rd most expensive daycare in the country. We are now known worldwide for fraud. And that's why I'm running for office. My sister, I'll just give a quick example. She's a teacher. She's having her 3rd kid here this year. It costs $2,000 per month per kid to send a kid to child care. She's going to be spending $72,000 a year on child care, and she's a teacher. I told you farmers are teachers. She's losing money teaching. That is not okay. I'm running because I have seen all of the fraud and waste in government, and I know we need aggressive action to cut it and make sure we can continue to pay for our most important programs. I'm running because I can't stand to see people like my sister, my friends and family having to choose between buying a house and sending their kids to childcare. And I'm running because I believe in the power of technology and entrepreneurship to make lives better, not in higher taxes and heavier-handed government. I'm Mark York. You can visit us at york4mn.com. I don't know if we have time for a question. All right, well, thank you. I'm running for Senate. Would appreciate your support. Thank you. Thanks, Terry.
Thank you, Mark. And one thing you'll notice about the campaign, we've got candidates coming and candidates going and everything. Candidates their leadership is not born during the campaign; it's revealed. And what we need is people like you out supporting the right candidate for the right office. Okay, let me see where we're at here. Okay, yes, it is time for the 3-minute stretch, and the time will be on the screen. Go ahead, get up, stretch, stand on your head, whatever you want to do. Thank you. Can you read? It says, please be seated. Yeah, come on. Let's restart our meeting. Oh, thank you, Al. Okay, good. Why are senior husbands like lawnmowers? They're hard to get started. They emit foul odors, and they don't work half the time. You know, maybe that's true. Look, our main speaker is going to be Jessica Bartholomew, but Eric Pratt walked in and he asked for 2 minutes of your time, and we'll give him that opportunity.
Well, thank you. I don't want to take any too much time away from your main speaker and your meeting, but I'm Eric Pratt. I'm the senator from Scott County, and I'm running for the 2nd Congressional District, the open seat that Angie Craig currently holds. And really, I just want to thank you. You guys, I've been here a couple of times. You've been so welcoming to me. And just to remind you that we've got caucuses coming up February 3rd, and hoping that you'll all show up. It's usually a bitterly cold or snowy night, but I hope you'll make the trek, become a delegate, and I think we've got a real shot. It feels good out there. As I'm out talking to people, as I'm out listening, it feels good. There's a lot of controversy, no doubt about it. But I think the Democrats have overplayed their hand, and we've got a message that can resonate with the voters of CD2 and the voters of Minnesota. So thank you all for just 2 minutes, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Eric. Yeah. Okay, and we'll go ahead and get started with our featured speaker, Jessica Bartholomew. Sextortion is a word that many of us have not heard before. It's the fastest growing crime in the world. Today we're privileged to have as our featured speaker Jessica Bartholomew, the founder and director of A.C.T. United. I've got 3 pages of things I could read about Jessica. She is just so qualified to be able to share with us the problems that we have and the ways that we can work to make things better. She's an engaging, passionate speaker, and she's going to leave you not just informed of the facts of juvenile sex trafficking, but she'll leave you inspired to take action by her message that united we win. Jessica Bartholomew.
Thank you and good morning. So, I'm told to use this. Here we go. All right. I really want to thank Dawn and everybody for inviting me and such an important topic and our organization to share with you today. The 2 fastest growing crimes that are targeting children today is child trafficking and a crime called sextortion, which is happening online. And if there is one more thing that we all can agree on and rally behind together, it is our children. It is the health and the safety and the protection of our kids. So our organization is combating these 2 crimes, child trafficking and sextortion. We'll talk a little bit about both of those today. But sextortion, in brief, is a crime that is happening online through social media, gaming, and now we have AI in the mix. And with all the great things that technology has brought to our lives, it has also brought some very significant and dangerous risks to our kids. But I also hope to share some good news today. I don't like problems without solutions. How about you? The solution, the number one solution, is prevention and early intervention. And ACT United has been deploying those 2 strategies since 2015 with a high degree of success, which I will talk a little bit about that as well. And that's where groups like you come in. We are fully supported at the grassroots level. Our capacity to reach more kids in prevention and early intervention and have more rescues and more kids that are not harmed in the first place through prevention is all through the activism of our communities and our groups that care about kids, whether it's through volunteering or funding or grants or helping us to spread awareness. So many families, and great families, and youth are still in the dark as to how prolific these two crimes are and the horrible impact that it has on kids' lives. So that is where all of us come together, and to the degree we have partnership, that increases our capacity. The degree of our capacity determines how many more kids we are able to reach every year across the state of Minnesota and beyond. So thank you for having me today. I'm going to give a brief overview of these two crimes targeting our kids, and then we're going to get to the good news about what we all can do about it. So child trafficking. The definition of child trafficking is when a third person benefits from the sexual exploitation of a child under the age of 18. That is our federal and our Minnesota statute. So what is the state of Minnesota? Well, for the first time in 2019, a question was added to our Minnesota high school student survey. And the question that was added was, yes or no, I have been affected by, impacted by, or forced to do the following. And all the elements in that question are the federal and state definition of juvenile sex trafficking. And what that survey found of our Minnesota 9th and 11th graders is that in 2019, there was over 5,000 students that reported being a victim of sex trafficking in our high schools. 3 years later, the same survey goes back out with that question again. 2022, again, roughly about 5,000 students in our Minnesota high school classrooms report being a victim of child sex trafficking. This is the actual statistical map, so we see that this isn't something that is just happening in Minneapolis, St. Paul, Duluth, and Rochester. This is the percentage of 9th and 11th graders in these regions of our state of Minnesota that reported being a victim of juvenile sex trafficking. What the study also found is that there was no statistically significant difference in the rates between boys and girls. So this is a crime that is impacting students without any discrimination across our state. Now, one piece of good news out of this survey is, where are students when they're taking a Minnesota high school student survey? They're in school. There is our opportunity for prevention education programs and resources to reach kids before bad things happen, and to reach those 5,000 kids that are looking for help and a way out and somebody that believes them in resources. And that's what our organization has been doing since 2015. We started in North Minneapolis. We've been in over 46 different schools, churches, and other youth-serving organizations since, reaching our students. This here is also a study that was done in 2017. It took a look at 3 years' worth of data in only Twin Cities juvenile sex trafficking cases, and over those 3 years looked at who's arrested for buying children in the state of Minnesota in juvenile sex trafficking investigations. And it found that, and these are the actual pathways, the dotted lines there, of the people that were arrested as buyers of sex trafficking, how far they traveled, that we had about 12,000 people in our state that were traveling across our state up to 60 miles into other communities across Minnesota for the sole purpose of purchasing slavery, purchasing a child for sexual assault. Where was this taking place? Hotels, motels, apartments, houses, even in parks and on the streets. Truck stops were the big places where this 3 years worth of data found this was happening at in our community. So we have victim survivors, we have buyers, people that are creating a $9 billion industry in the United States of America in child sex trafficking, $150 billion globally, worldwide. And we have the buyers, the people with the means, the money that is fueling this industry, and we also have the trafficker, or the person in control, that third-party person that is facilitating this crime of our children in our state. Of those three people, these are four real people. And with what we know so far, just kind of getting an idea maybe in your mind of who might be who out of these four photos. And the answer is all four of them are convicted sex traffickers in the state of Minnesota. So what we break here, the informational piece, is this. About less than 10% of juvenile sex trafficking is going to start with a kidnapping. So does it happen? Absolutely. Do we still need to be safe on the streets and on college campuses and walking in the dark and things like that? Of course we do. But about 90% of juvenile sex trafficking is going to start in the context of a fraudulent relationship. Somebody grooming a child under fraudulent means and purposes, very calculated actions and behaviors to bring that child into relationship for the sole purpose of defrauding them into then sex trafficking. And of these four people here, all relationship based. We have the guy up here, up on the top, playing the nice guy role, the friendly role, I'm here to help you role. Well, he was actually in charge of driving and transporting kids and young women across the Twin Cities to places where they would then discover that they were going to be trafficked. So not quite the nice neighborly guy he portrayed himself to be. Down at the bottom, the woman in the glasses was a grandmother of Carver County who was trafficking her 8-year-old granddaughter to a registered sex offender in Iowa. She was interdicted by law enforcement. Again, relationship, right? Fraudulent, grooming, control. The other guy down on our bottom row there, he's from Chicago. He's driving around with a 19-year-old young lady in the car. They go to places where teenagers hang out. And they are going back and forth up and down the street. They see a 15-year-old girl walking by herself. They make contact with her. No knife, no gun, no threats. Simply strike up a conversation. And what are you doing out here, today? Why are you walking by yourself? You look like you could use a friend, use a family. Yeah, kind of. Looks like you could use some help. Yeah, a little bit. Want to hang out today? Sure. Just wanted to hang out. Later on in the afternoon, hey, we were thinking about taking a trip to Minneapolis just for one night. Do you want to come? Sure, I'll go missing from home just for one night, maybe make up a lie, little secret. And yeah, I'll do a one-night trip. That sounds exciting, adventurous. And it wasn't until they brought her up to Minneapolis, Minnesota, rented a hotel, and tried to force her into sex trafficking. She resisted, was brutally assaulted, and found on the side of I-94 by somebody on their way to work that morning and brought to the hospital. So our most surprising gal up there, senior in high school, Minnesota, cheerleading squad, has another girl on the cheerleading squad who is kind of vulnerable, kind of alone, doesn't make friends real easy, kind of marginalized, doesn't have a lot of buddies. People don't really eat with her at lunch. And then she starts disclosing that they're having financial stress in their family and she really needs to make money to kind of keep up with what everybody else, has going on. Well, because this gal right here values money more than human beings and her fellow peers and teenagers, she concocts an idea where she's going to set up parties and actually post this girl for sale on the internet, schedules parties and different dates with people in the Twin Cities for sex trafficking. So she drives her, says, hey, I have an idea, I can help you make money, drives her to the first location, drops her off at an apartment where she's never been before with a man that she has never met before. And this gal leaves but collects the money and does that for a period of time until it is discovered. And she was 18 years old, senior in high school, doing 28 years in federal prison. All right, one more thing to get to, and then after that, I'll help you get your appetite back with some good news. Online exploitation, sextortion, it is the crime of our day because of technology. Benefits to technology, you bet, absolutely, right? And we're not going to avoid it. It's going to get better. It's going to be used for our jobs. It's going to be used for all kinds of reasons, right? Great. However, with the great can come the bad. And so there have been risks to kids that are on social media and on gaming and on different platforms just for communication. And sextortion is a crime when a young person is convinced, coerced, sometimes threatened, but sometimes just in the context of a relationship will send a private or explicit or nude photo of themselves under peer pressure. Everybody's doing it. It's no big deal. My last boyfriend did. My last girlfriend did. And then kids of all ages are sending what they believe to be funny or what they believe to be just for the privacy of this one other person they're in relationship with, a nude or explicit photo. Really putting that trust into that other person's hands. And then when that person uses that photo to extort that child and threaten to expose that photo, if they do not comply with the demands, which are to send money, to send more content or more videos, or sometimes even to meet in person, where secondary very bad things are happening to kids. That's a felony. It is a crime called sextortion. I don't know if this video will play. I'm told that it won't, just because of the Wi-Fi system here, so I'll tell you about it if not. Well, and it won't click forward out of here. There we go. Okay, so we'll stop here while I talk about that video. That was a 2-minute video, a real case scenario of a young man by the name of Jordan DeMay. He was from Michigan, and he was a senior in high school. He was the captain of the football team, very popular, a lot of friends, wonderful parents, okay? Wonderful, amazing parents, amazing family. Is that just catching up with me now, all my clicking I did or something? Oh, okay, to see if it would go. And goes to go to bed one night after a long day of football and school and everything else, and lays down, hops on social media just for a brief time, and ends up getting a friend request on social media from a young lady who was about the same age. He accepts the friend request, strikes up a conversation. The conversation gets pretty intense and intimate and awesome really quick. And she sends a couple of photos to him, and then asks him if he would send a photo back. And he ended up sending a photo of himself back. Immediately, the next text was to send them $1,000, or else this photo was going to be exposed to everybody. And this young man had a football team. He had a career. He had college on the horizon. He's got a great family, great grandparents. Like, the exposure of that photo, I mean, imagine extortion, right? Of your most private and intimate photo you've ever taken in your whole entire life as an adult. Now imagine the pressure of a 16, 17, 18-year-old managing that pressure at 11 o'clock at night. And he said, I only have $300. He sent $300. They demanded more. He said, I can't. If you don't quit, I will just kill myself right now. And they said, go ahead, or I'll make you. And he did. He shot himself, death by suicide. From the first friend request to death by suicide was a matter of under a couple hours. That's how intense this relationship built, and in a, just kind of in a culture or in a place of technology that we're at right now, we're kind of sending those photos doesn't seem as big of a deal as it can turn out to be. That is how easily and how quick this crime can unfold with life-changing impact on our young people. So very important to feel trapped in that moment. Prevention, resources, reaching our kids first is so important. Our huge message to students all the time is there is help and there is hope. There is help and there is hope. And we repeat that because in that moment of extortion, and you feel trapped and alone, you need to know one thing. It's not hopeless. There is help and there is hope. So if we can go back to there we go. The facts. The youngest kid, that has come forward for help with our organization in doing prevention programs is 2nd grade. The next youngest was 3rd grade. That had sent an explicit photo or video to somebody they thought was another 3rd grader online, just joking around. Wouldn't it be funny? Well, it turned out to be a 55-year-old man from Australia with 12 child victims. So how young is this happening, you know? And 40% of kids, 9 to 17, will be approached online. If they're online or they're gaming or they're on social media, 40% will be approached for the sole purpose of manipulation and befriending them for exploitive purposes. Put in perspective, that's about 265,000 kids a year in our state will be contacted by a predator or somebody with exploitive purposes while they're just playing a game or while they're on social media. That is a heck of a lot of kids. So, the good news, can there be good news with this? Well, when we know a solution, when we have the tools, when we have the resources, when we have the people that can deploy the number one solution, yes, there is hope. I want to say this financially about prevention. So Minnesota has not funded pure prevention against these two crimes. And even though in 2012 they funded a study to find out what is the cost-benefit analysis of prevention strategies, financially they found that for every dollar spent in prevention to prevent this, saves $34 in tax dollars because of the harm that is done. That's just a financial perspective. What about prevention for one life? Right? What if one kid didn't have this happen? What if one teenager didn't have this happen? That's the investment that's worth it to me as well. So what are we doing at Act United for prevention education, early intervention? How are we reaching kids before predators do? And given those early intervention ways out, the help and the hope. We have grade level prevention education programs. Our K through 5th focuses on online safety, not sharing personal information. What if somebody sends you a question or a message while you're gaming? Who are your trusted adults? Really reinforcing that it's okay to tell. And the cool thing about our K through 5 program is we deliver this program in a variety of ways. We have skits for some of the points, because if I'm in 3rd or 4th grade, it's so much easier to watch skits that actually our interns and our teen leadership program students are a part of the skits. And so 3rd graders are just enamored with somebody 15, 16, 17, and they're playing out scenarios and what to do if this happens. So a really engaging program for that age. And then for middle school, high school, college campuses, we have Youth Aware. Youth Aware has 2 programs. One is healthy relationships. What is trafficking and how youth are leading the movement to end it. All empowerment-based programs. Not here's bad things that are happening. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do that, blah, 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 right? It's empowerment-based. How are youth leading change? How are youth advocating with their peers? How are youth spreading awareness with their peers and sharing resources? And our other one is social media safety and the dangers of private photo sharing. So like I said, we've been in about 46 schools, churches, and youth-serving organizations with these programs. During the summer then, some of the most at-risk times of the year for kids, we do Safe Summer Outreach, June and July. We reach kids in the communities across Minnesota with online safety stuff, but also some of the other things that reduce vulnerabilities and risk factors, like food insecurity or lack of supervision, just because parents are working and they're working hard and they're working all day. And what's that going to do? Lack of supervision with increased social media time or online gaming time. And that can be a cocktail for disaster. So we come in with healthy activities and sports and crafts and all kinds of and meals that we can share in the park to keep kids offline and provide some amazing opportunities for them. I made a phone call to Ron Hosevar, the Scott County attorney elect last year. And I said, Ron, are we just about done fielding these calls at the end of it when kids are harmed, and are we ready to get ahead of it in prevention? And he said, absolutely. And I said, what do you think about starting a task force for Scott and Carver County that hasn't had one, even though they've been springing up across our state? And he said, absolutely, and I'm not sending staff, I'm there myself. So we started the very first Scott and Carver County task force. We have 13 law enforcement agencies, including the Minnesota BCA involved, as well as nonprofit organizations, working together collaboratively to attack these crimes proactively so they don't happen, and to make sure that we have available services to everybody and youth as well. You know, it's amazing. If youth know who to call, sometimes we had a kid who was 15 years old being exploited online, called our FBI hotline before he even told his parents or a friend. That phone call to the FBI hotline led to the arrest of one of his teachers at school who was doing it, and they found about 42 other victims and other students in his school district, 20 minutes away from where we're sitting today. One phone call to the FBI, so making sure our students have access to resources as well. I'm actually, we have our task force meeting this afternoon. So our impact, we just invite you to learn more about these topics, to share what you know, to be engaged in any way that you feel tugged on your heart. Like I said, through funding, through grants, through volunteerism, and through sharing this information with other parents and grandparents and families and teachers, that you know the degree of our capacity is the degree of how many kids we're going to reach. Over 10 years, we've been able to reach 28,000 kids across our state. We've also done some overseas work as well in child brothels and things like that. But the funding for Minnesota from grassroots Minnesotans to reach more kids, we've had 102 rescues. What does that look like? That looks like standing in school, standing in church, being at Safe Summer Outreach, serving a meal, and a kid calls you or texts you and says, what you were talking about today, that's me. I'm trapped. I don't know how to get out, and I'm scared. We got this. We got this. Together we got this. 102 rescues. We do have our 10 Years of Impact video on our YouTube channel, Act United MN on YouTube. Every time there's a video, I don't think it clicks forward. If you can click forward. There we go. And then one more click. And that's what I have to share with you today. That is the state of Minnesota when it comes to these two fastest growing crimes targeting our kids. But the number one solution, according to government funded, we have spent millions researching how to combat child trafficking in Minnesota. How many dollars do you think go into the number one solution they discover, which is prevention, to get ahead of it? Right? Not enough. And what is released that's called prevention is for law enforcement interdictions, which we need. And do we need funding for restorative care for survivors? Absolutely. This is not an either or, but we will keep funding the restoration of harmed kids until we start funding prevention to protect kids in the first place. If we know the solution, let's deploy the solution. Marvel idea. So thank you so much for your time. I hope I gave you your appetite back with some good news at the end there. Thank you so much, and I don't know if I can open for questions then, or yeah, so any questions or comments? Yeah.
parents here. I mean, we're dealing with kids. And so, I mean, it's pretty hard just to deal with a kid. So where does the role of the parent come in here in all of this? Because anytime you're dealing with a kid, you have to talk to the parent. So are the parents responding to your work?
Yeah, parents are responding to the work, and even our school-based programs do three things. One is we have our student programs. We also have our parent awareness night to make sure parents are aware, and we also provide professional development workshops for everybody that works with youth, including in the schools. It would be the staff and the social workers and the counselors. So parents play a vital role with open communication at home. Two very important things. Learn together and talk together. We don't have to know all the answers, but we have to stay aware of how social media, how games, what are the trends, what are the dangers that are happening on social media, and then keeping open communication at home. Because if this is just every once in a while we need to have the talk and I'm confiscating your phone, that's one approach. But if we keep ongoing conversation in the home, hey, I learned this today, I saw this on the news, or we had a speaker and I found out about this. Have you ever heard of that? Have you seen that? Let's watch this together. We have videos on our YouTube channel. National Center for Missing and Exploited Children has animated videos you can watch with littler kids, K through 5th, to learn together and talk together. Keep the conversation normal and open and ongoing, and keep the encouragement to tell. This isn't about you getting in trouble. This is about you staying safe. So if somebody says something to you or threatens you or asks you for your address or a photo, let me know. Let me look into it before we delete it, because this is about protection, right? So keeping that conversation going and staying aware of what is happening. Like I said, so many good families and great kids are falling prey to these tactics from these predators online.
I think it's on. I think it's important to remember as a parent, our first reaction and our gut reaction can often be to judge those kids. It's so damn important to not judge them. Be their safety net. You got to be their safety net. Because if you judge them in any way, you check yourself. If you think you're going to do it, walk out of the room and come back. You got to check yourself, because if you judge them, they're going to shut down. And I applaud you for the work you're doing.
Thank you. Yeah, something very critical to know and very sad to me is some of the kids or teenagers that come forward to get help out of these situations will, say that they haven't told their parents yet and nobody knows. And here's the reason, the number one reason: because I don't want to lose my phone. They're thinking punitive if I come forward and get help. And we have to remember today, that's their communication. That's their social life. That's their e-learning. That's their getting updates even from school about upcoming assignments and logging on to their school apps. I mean, it isn't just a phone, and it is so sad to stay under the pressures and the fear of exploitation over the thought of losing your phone, but that's reality. And so jumping out, it's really hard to jump out of the punitive kind of model or whatever and get them thinking about protection, help, and support. I will support you out of this. We'll walk out of this together. We will figure it out together if anything happens. So very excellent point.
Yeah, my question is, I think we all have heard here where Australia, if I believe, has banned social media cell phone service for age group. Do you foresee the favorability of what we're hearing on that actually going to our legislation here in the United States?
That's a great question. And when I found out that Australia was able to pass such a thing, I was, pretty surprised. I was impressed, but I was pretty surprised. And, you know, to be honest, I have no idea how willing each nation is to create such bans. I mean, that brings up much debate about, you know, First Amendment and other things. So I really don't know. I do know that we have had some senators do some really great legislative work to pass different bills, like the Take It Down Act, which was a joint effort by Senator Ted Cruz and Amy Klobuchar, actually, from Minnesota at the Congressional federal level, and passed the Take It Down Act, which is, as soon as social media platforms are notified that there is child exploitive material on their platform, I think it's 48 hours to take it down, or a significant fine if you don't. So forcing the taking down of explicit material when it's reported, because isn't it a shame and a horror that that just didn't happen naturally? I mean, right? So we pass laws to have people do the right thing. So there's always hope, because we are seeing congressional movement and bills and laws. But I really don't know if our nation will take it up.
I've heard the term minor attracted person. Are there people who are advocating or supporting this kind of exploitive behavior?
Yes, a minor attracted person is a agenda to push that as an accepted gender category to describe persons over the age of 18 that are attracted to infants and children, to just add that as a protected class. And yes, there are groups rallying behind that. Yes, there is push for that. There is a group in Minnesota that pushes for that, as well as other things in our state. So that's actually a real thing that is happening.
Thank you for the great work you're doing. 2 questions. Is there a parallel group for older kids over 18? A parallel group that works with older kids, like college kids and...
In Minnesota, I don't know of any. We work on college campuses and with college students, and our leadership program also involves juniors and seniors in high school, as well as college students. And they help spread awareness and host the events, and through partnership with us, get word out to college campuses about these 2 issues. Because this does happen at the older levels.
Another question. Are you approaching our candidates to embrace this issue and these solutions? Because I can't imagine a candidate who would not embrace this and will give you leverage to help the kids.
Yes, and we do work with some of our current representatives and senators as well. And to be honest, it has not been highly successful. Not that they're not behind it, but as we go through the legislative process, right, you've got committees and it has to make it, you know, down the pike. There was a bill that was presented last year by Senator Lang, and then taken up in the House by Representative Van Vinsbergen. And that bill had 2 things to it. One, the first section of the bill was to increase the penalties for convicted offenders of sextortion against minors where there was great bodily harm or death. So making sure that there's a mandatory minimum sentence for people that do sextortion against a child and it leads to their physical harm or death. The second part of that bill was to fund a statewide awareness campaign so we can reach. The Minnesota Department of Health reached all of Minnesota with the survey, found out we got over 5,000 kids sitting in our classrooms that need our help. And then when we tried to pass a bill to fund prevention education in all these same regions, to reach kids before predators do, to reach the kids that are being harmed with our resources and hope and help and a way out to end it, that section of the bill did not pass. It was too expensive. At the same time, as we all know, right? We've got billions going other places. To crimes that don't exist, to people that don't exist, to children that don't exist. While we know we have children that exist in our communities and in our schools asking for help, right? That part did not. So I applaud their work for presenting the bill, for writing the bill, to working with survivors, for working with organizations like us. But it did not make it through. So it is an important cause to take up. I mean, if health, safety, and the protection is an issue for all of you and for our candidates, right? This issue here, this is the third year in a row that the FBI, the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, and the Department of Homeland Security has issued a crisis level warning, a public health crisis warning of a spike in sextortion that is targeting our kids on the rise every year and is targeting kids, especially boys, 9 to 17 years old. 98% of victims of sextortion in 2022 were boys, as young as 9 years old. So this isn't a crime just impacting our girls. And so if at the national and state level we're willing to issue warnings, I think at the state and national level, but I'm not waiting around, let me be clear. You know, grassroots moves the needle 100% of the time. Grassroots moves the needle 100% of the time. We need to reach these kids.
Okay, it's on now.
All right, there we go. I'm in Scott County, and I'm just curious, are you, or now with this ECAC task force, is there funding for you to regularly kind of rotate through bringing your presentation and message to the high schools and junior highs? Is that something that you're kind of already doing, or is it only by request that you come, or is it more a push to go in?
So as far as the task force goes, that was started by myself and Ron Hosevar, our county attorney for Scott County. He's amazing, by the way. There is zero funding for this task force at this point. And organizations, law enforcement organizations, are going to pull out if we do not get funding for this task force, because time is money, and they're sending officers, faithfully to these meetings once a month. And the initiatives in the community that we do, there has been no government funding or large donor funding to keep this task force going at this point, but we're still going. So that is definitely a need. As far as getting our programs into schools and churches and other organizations across our state, people will ask, who's the best person to talk to there? It's your ally. It's our friend. Whoever is in that school or in that church or in that organization that believes in the safety of kids, the protection of kids, is passionate about these topics, they will be the person that will provide that initial bridge to get our programs in. We have been at Shakopee High School every semester, every year for 6 years. They bring us into the sociology of the family class. Because remember the dynamics and the relationship dynamics that are involved in both of these crimes. So we're actually in the sociology class. That happened because of a sociology teacher. We have been teaching our program on sextortion prevention in Burnsville High School for 8 years. At every semester, every year, every health class. And that's because of the head teacher for the health department saw me speaking at a church event, asked about our school programs, and we've been a part of their curriculum ever since. Some of the high schools we have been in are because of the school counselor, and some are because of the students. Students, NHS, DECA, Key Club, and JHS, these student clubs, they're like, this is off the chain. I lost my friend to this. My friend had to move, can't even come back to school because of the bullying she experiences after sending a photo she thought was just for my, friend, my boyfriend, and then it gets airdropped, on iPhones in the middle of a lunchroom. That's an actual real story. Within a second and a click of one button, the 400 kids sitting in the lunchroom got a photo of her she thought was going to be kept private in her relationship. So students are like, even when admin or the adults or whatever don't understand the severity of what's going on, kids do. And so they've brought us in, they've done projects with us. So it's really about finding the ally in the school district, in the church that says, yes, let's bring these programs in. And it costs us about $5 per student or $3,000 per school. We lose money when we do the whole school. When it's larger schools like the ones we do, like 2,500 kids, we don't care. But the $5 a student helps because every student in our program, they go home with their own resources. They get a pocket wallet card that defines those 2 crimes and all the hotline numbers to call for help, and online resources as well, and as well as our information is on there too, and positive messages and some other things that they get. So it's by finding that ally.
Just springboarding off from what you just said with the hotline card, it seems like, when you gave the story of that young man, very sad, could you create an app? It's almost like a panic button. I mean, I'm just thinking in the moment when all that was going through his head, and everything, there's an app for everything. Could the kids have an app on their phone? So it's one click away. They're in a moment. They could click on that. There could be whatever resources there, be it a panic button app or just something. I don't know.
Yeah, our resource card for the students, we have a couple of pieces of material they get that has a QR code, and then they're able to take a photo of that, and they're able to keep it with them everywhere that they go. And a lot of times what we find too is that they're texting that to friends and other people at school that they know are in a situation. And so the best way to spread prevention and awareness and get help quickly is when students are advocating for other students and getting that into their hands. So I'm told that we're wrapping, but I know there's 2 people that have been waiting a while, so let's do that, and I'll have very short answers. I auction part-time. I'll go quick.
Great. So we heard from you that legislation has not been as great a thing for you so far. In just a few weeks, we're going to have caucuses. I'm pretty sure that everybody in this room and everybody watching will probably be going to their caucus. Part of caucuses is resolutions. Do you have a readily worded resolution available on your website or available for people to take into their precinct caucuses? Because it goes from there, it goes to their BPOUs, and eventually, if it comes from enough places and it's a similarly well-worded resolution, you could see some success with it.
And this is why grassroots moves the needle, right? So, no, we do not. I know what a resolution is, and whoever in this room or a candidate or whoever in this room has written a resolution for your caucus before, we could hammer that out in probably 60 minutes. So let's do it. And then we will make it available on the website and distribute that to the groups as well. So if anybody here wants to collaborate on putting that together, I've got everything in my head and you know the format. Let's do it. Let's do it. So.
Real quick, I know we're about out of time. My question was, what would you like to see from the federal level to really address this and protect our kids?
To be honest with you, I don't, I'm not sure about the federal level. The federal level has distributed a couple $100 million to fight trafficking in the United States. The majority of that funding goes to restorative services, which is after the crime happens. Do we need that? Absolutely. And it has gone to law enforcement investigations. Is that needed? Absolutely. Until there's a shift, is what I would like to see at all levels, federal and state levels, is a shift to prevention, not in place of helping survivors, but until we start investing that $1 to save 34 in protecting kids' lives instead of having to put them back together, we are not going to end this. You don't end anything by responding to it. It's already done. We will end child exploitation when we go upstream and get ahead of it in prevention so it doesn't happen in the first place and our numbers start to drop like flies. So investment in prevention. Thank you so much. I'm getting a reminder in the back that I did bring some information and materials with me today. There's a brochure about all our different programs that we do. I brought a few pieces in regards to our programs for churches, and some information about our school programs is back there. And the wallet card I talked about for kids, I got a wallet card for everybody back there. So what are the signs and indicators with somebody you know? And what are the signs and indicators in public? And if you see something, where do you say something? I have information and materials in the back. If you want to, and somebody else reminded me too, if you want to get involved or you want to donate or become a monthly partner or sponsor a school, 3,000, sponsor a classroom, 150, I'm telling you, and this isn't nonprofit cliche, every amount helps when you're doing this work. Our website is actunited.org, and you can go to our donate page. If you want to stay connected to our newsletter, upcoming opportunities and ways to get involved in volunteering and writing a resolution, please reach out to me. Our information is on the back. There's a QR code and the clipboard sign-up sheet. We'll put you on the newsletter. Please email me if this has moved your heart in any way about how to get involved and support our work. So I really appreciate everybody. Saying goodbye to Don again. Thank you for the invitation. Great lunch or breakfast with him before coming here. So thank you again, everybody. Please pick up material. Please reach out. And please let me know who's the person in this room that's writing a resolution with me before caucus. All right, perfect. I got a card in my back pocket. I'm walking over to you when I drop the mic. All right? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jessica. Did I say she was passionate about this? That certainly was an eye-opener for a lot of us. Now we'd like to do 2 cents for 2 minutes. I think Barb is asked to do it.
Most of you know me. I'm Barbara Linert. Anybody here have a dog? I had a dog. I didn't want a dog. I didn't even really like dogs, but my kid left it when she moved out, and that dog absolutely fell in love with me. I ended up writing a book about her. It's a children's book, And Brad, our wizard behind the curtain with the live stream, created a video for me to market my book. So we're going to play that right now, and hope you enjoy it.
Kitty is a lovable mutt from Minnesota, with a funny name and hilarious true-to-life adventures, often as unlikely as her name. Children and the adults in their lives will enjoy Kitty's stories, told from the dog's point of view, with illustrations by Kitty's human. Feel her bravery when she overcomes her fear of cats and water, and cheer when she finds her way back from getting lost. Kitty teaches the importance of sniffing when you're on a walk, not overindulging in goodies, and that making friends is one of life's best things. Kitty is a dog who loves life. Her human helps tell her stories in a heartwarming way, making this a book readers go to over and over again. Come along with Kitty as she makes a friend, learns to swim, goes to work, catches a squirrel, eats the wrong food, and goes to school. Tales of a dog named Kitty. Are you here, Kitty?
Yeah, that's me. And I'm a dog, not a cat, not a kitten, but a dog. D-O-G, dog. And to find out more about my adventures, just bark. Or, if you're human, copy the information on this screen.
I meet with the MPD once every 2 months, and I just want to pass on something that I learned. The city council and the mayor took away 80% of the MPD's overtime, which means in my precinct, which covers everything from the river to 35W, from Crosstown to Franklin, during one shift, this could come down to 4 officers on duty. All that while, the city council got a raise, and the mayor got a $46,000 raise. And one more thing, they have these violent interrupters. One of them raped a 13-year-old girl.
I am KT Jacobs. I'm running for seat left empty by Sandra Feist, 39B. I'm up on the north end, and I welcome the support of anybody who wants to give me money. I take money every day. This broad ain't cheap. The other thing I wanted to mention very quickly was I've been heading up the watch party up on the north side. We've got a lot of seniors up there that don't drive very far from home, and we've been working hard over the last couple of months to get that going. We've run out of our opportunity for free F-R-E-E, free location for mating, which is very difficult, and a lot of places do not open at 9:30 in the morning. So if any of you on the north side, if any of you that are watching, keep an eye on your emails. We're coming back at you eventually, but if you've got any ideas for us to land, please let me know. I'll stick around for a few minutes, and we can do this. It's important. Any North Minneapolis all the way. If they want to drive from Duluth, we'll take them. Fridley, Columbia Heights. My Senate district, my House district is Columbia Heights, part of Columbia Heights, part of New Brighton, and all of St. Anthony. And St. Anthony is a tough nut to crack, let me tell you. I ran last time, and it's very, very difficult. So I need all the help I can get. Volunteers. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. Ted?
Yeah, I'm Tad Jude. I know I've had an opportunity to speak before. I'm running for Secretary of State to secure the vote, trust the vote, make sure that people have confidence. When Jessica talked today, she talked about working with the federal government. And that's what we have to do at the Secretary of State's office, to clean up the voting rolls, work with the federal government. Steve Simon is responsible for whatever they call that new state flag. We've got a petition back here if you'd like to vote on going back to the traditional historic state flag. Welcome to have you sign it. So thank you very much.
Okay. Any other two minutes? Yes.
Remember that the reason ICE is in town is they are targeting child traffickers. That seems to be left out of the news.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, and you know you can put in resolutions for anything in your caucus as a place to start. At this time, I guess we're winding things down. Don't forget to tell your friends and your neighbors about us. If you each bring a person, that doubles the amount of people we have. Yes, we are going to have our prize drawing. You came. I know you came for the prize. Yeah, and let's see. Al, you're closest. Would you pick one out? Go ahead. Just read it.
842-6522. Eight 842-6522. Eight 842-6502.
We have a winner. Come on down. One more we want to pick.
Also 842-6574. We got two of them. We got two. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Be sure that you attend the caucuses on February 3rd. I do want to remind you that our next meeting will be February 10th, a week after the caucuses, and we'll be really energized by then. But our speaker is going to be the Reverend Kenneth Beale, Jr. He's the pastor at the Fort Snelling Memorial Chapel. Excuse me. And he's not going to give us a sermon. He's going to get so you can even come up front if you want. No, but he's an historian as well. I've heard him talk about Abraham Lincoln, but he's going to talk about the Judeo-Christian ethics that's part of our Constitution and help to forge the Constitution that we still have today. It just amazes me at how elegant our forefathers were in creating a system of government that still works today. So in any case, drive carefully on your way home. God bless you all. We'll see you next month.
Republican Seniors of Minnesota. For more information, please visit republicanseniorsmn.com. While visiting our website, you can click on the video tab to watch videos of past meetings. Also, look for other tabs that bring you to our live player and other video programs. Or, on YouTube, search for Republican Seniors of Minnesota